child self when I was a baby spirit in the 90s, and I started getting memories of being in the 80s when I was never even born in the 80s. But apparently my mom had me before and she aborted me. And I was a baby floating around, following her and waiting for her to get pregnant again so I could be born. And it never happened. It never happened until much, much later. So uh I remember that song, ER. It's just called the theme to ER. I don't really know if it has another name, but God played that song for her to make her feel happy of the fact that she was leaving heaven. Because he knew her bitch ass was evil, and she needed that. She needed that. She needed to know there was a good thing she was leaving because she felt like it was anyway, right? He played that song for her, and I told people that when this song fell down to earth like she did, this song actually fell down to earth and it went to a Spanish man, I think, a Latino or something, right? He heard the song, but because he had demon ears, the song went into a negative harmony, meaning that when he played the song for Beelzebub in heaven, it was in major. It was in major key. Now, when you hear it on earth, the song is in minor key. I wish somebody would get into the studio and make it into major key so we could all hear what that sounds like. But it sounds so fucking beautiful already as it is in minor. So if you really want to check it out, I guarantee you it's a really nice song. I really like it. If you can't hear it, I must warn you though, if you don't have the ears to hear all the instruments in it, you'll think it's not that great. But if you can hear all the instruments, girl, it's really beautiful. It's a beautiful song. It's a 90s show. It's it's a 90s show about animals being stupid. Animal people. But yeah, it's a great song, and I'm so angry that God attached it to her, right? And I'm sure a lot of people would be. But it's like the animals, God really likes Beelzebub. And I was going to say the animals like her only because God likes her, right? And nobody that's human should agree with him. That's what I'm saying. Nobody that's human should agree with God liking Beelzebub. The animals only like her because God does. They're the weakest link. They're going to follow whatever the biggest guy is doing. And God's the biggest guy. They can see that. So they said, he like her, we got to like her too. They want the Father to like them. They are two-faced creatures, most animals. And they would turn on her if God told them to. Okay? They will turn on anybody if God said so. They would even turn on God if God said so. Right? They're two-faced idiots. I forgive them for that. They're meant to be dumb. What I don't like is humans being dumb. Okay? That's my thing. But like animals, they'd be like, what? Beelzebub? I never liked that bitch. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you caught me kissing her feet at one time, but that was so yesteryear. I wouldn't do that again, says the anima. That's what they would say. The anima. Animals as humans without the L, without the Lucifer. Lucifer. Beelzebub was funny. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Beelzebub was funny as a Halloween witch. When she was going, hee 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 hee, my pretty. She was fucking funny. Okay, those were the best days for us. She was hilarious. But, as a Hollywood harlot, she's not so funny. She's not so funny. Jesus just wants to get rid of her. And that's why she doesn't like him at all. Like, she doesn't like him. Like, she possessed Jay-Z and told him, like, that just came to my remembrance. She possessed Jay-Z one time and told him to backmask murder Jesus in one of his songs. Craig Lewis. Jesus visited him too. Craig was the only pastor I saw preparing his for the imposter age. He tried to really prepare them for it, even though God didn't really tell him what was up. Right? Jesus told Craig to stay in the house and don't come out until I tell you. Jesus did a lot for Craig. I hope Craig knows that, because a lot of Christians, because the imposter started feeling like God never does anything for me, because Beelzebub always feels like God never does anything for her when he does a lot for her ungrateful ass. Okay, Pastor Craig is how I know Jay-Z was possessed with the pig spirit. I don't know when, but it looked like it was in the 90s or the early 2000s, but he has a lot of tapes, a lot of videos of his church services. And in one of them, he shows his church that for whatever reason, God told him this means God is one. Like, God, I'm sorry, God is, because I'm looking at my notes, like, God is what? Oh, okay. So yeah, it's coming back. God told him to listen to Jay-Z's music when he doesn't even like rappers right? He doesn't even like rappers, but he told him to listen to Jay-Z music. Then he told him to flip it backwards. I don't know, he had the ability to do that at the time, but he flipped it backwards. He told him to do this because when you flip the song backwards, and I don't remember what song it was. Wait, why didn't I write that down? What's the name of the song? Oh, okay. I think it was actually Lucifer, the one named Lucifer. Oh, right. Okay, so the song was named Lucifer. It had to be that one, because duh. Jay-Z has a song called Lucifer where it sings, "You are the dawn of the morning, Lucifer. You are the dawn of the morning." And I'm pretty sure it's a dog bitch singing that. It sounded like it was a black woman. Okay? That shit scared the fuck out of me. Why is a black woman saying a praise song to Lucifer? I assumed it was one of those dog bitches, like Ruth or something, right? Definitely Beelzebub had her pudgy ass hands in that. So it was already fucking crazy. Cause I was still a teenager when we found him, when my church found him, and my pastor was telling us to watch him. The song forwards is openly praising the devil, getting ready for the imposter age, right? Because for the imposter age, they wanted stuff like that to be okay. They wanted people to openly worship him now and not hide anymore. Worship Satan and not be ashamed, right? So to hear the forward version of the song openly praising Lucifer, and then you play it backwards and you hear a very clear message of Jay-Z saying loud, 666 murder Jesus? What the fuck? Like, what the fuck was that? That was fucking terrifying, but it gave me this negative excitement. Like I was a member of Left 4 Dead about to be in the apocalypse. And I didn't like that shit. So I ignored it, if I'm being honest. But that's bad. People ignored his tapes, and yeah, like nobody else had this recording but Craig. Nobody else had this recording. He basically just started attacking everybody after that. Craig, I mean. There are a lot of planes flying over my house again. They're like, this shit again. I wonder why. Like, but Craig basically started attacking everybody after that. Everybody in the entertainment sphere, in the entertainment industry, including gospel artists. He was getting everybody, just like the imposter was. Okay? So some people were really upset, but I was totally enthralled. And then I had to forget. I had to forget about him again because the imposter was brought to my house thanks to my sister, right? Well, now for the apocalypse, why can't we just open the worship to Jesus now? Why can't people openly worship Jesus? Because like that really wasn't the norm in America either. Like you can't tell me that it was normal for Christians to outwardly worship Christ. It wasn't. Everything was always neutral. Like if I'm being honest, it was always worship Caesar or worship thyself. Okay? And since people were blatantly worshiping Satan, why can't we just blatantly like worship Christ, you know? Like you guys should definitely look up Craig Lewis though. Cause he even exposed that for me. That in America, like people were religious but with a little sprinkle of Christ, you know, like marinara sauce. Like they wasn't real Christians worshiping him openly. Because in our media, he should be all over our media, blatantly, not subtly. He shouldn't be a subliminal. Christ should not be a subliminal, you know? And like through his old tapes about hip hop and stuff, they were really good. Like it'll scare the pants off of you, you know? If you're righteous enough, maybe. But it's just sad that he had been preaching this since the 90s and none of us could hear it because we really weren't supposed to. Like now I hope the people will because it's still relevant. A lot of what he said is still relevant. Some of it has come to pass, but it's still relevant. So like remember when I said that they had been preparing for the imposter age since the 70s? That's what Will Smith told me, right? I said 80s, 70s, whatever. But God tried to tell Craig about the imposter age by being dramatic. And Craig's reaction caused God to not want to tell him the full story anymore. So I'm just going to tell it to you quickly. Craig was in the 90s. He was at home watching something that was akin to MTV. He said it was called a video music box. I gotta look at my notes here. Video music box. And a hip hop group came on and he was about to change the channel because he doesn't like hip hop. But God told him to keep watching, and he knew it was serious because God stuck him right there on the couch, like forced him to say. This boy, this black boy, was dancing in the music video, and he turned around, and for a few seconds, it looked like he had 666 cut in the back of his high top fade. And he did. Craig had to watch that shit again, right? He had 666, the mark of the beast, shaved in the back of his head. And he was turning it around to show people. And Craig could not believe it. God told him to get ready. Something's coming. Right? And that sounded like a movie. Like, ooh, ooh. Like you know how you want to be in a haunted house? Like, ooh, something jump out at you? Like, that's that negative excitement he started to feel. Right? That we all felt when we watched Craig's tapes at my church. But because Craig seemed a little excited, the same way Lewis from Left 4 Dead, got excited when the zombie apocalypse started, when he realized the zombie apocalypse was real, it was this negative excitement that's how Jesus described it to me. Like, finally, I get to prove I'm a real Christian. Like, ooh, it's good that he wanted this, but it's good that he wanted to prove his real Christianity by putting it to work. Real work. This would be real work. The imposter was testing a lot of Christians, but it's the tribulations, okay? And you were low-key kind of meant to fail in a ways, but because that reaction could have easily sent him down a dark path. Him being negatively excited about it like that, it did so many other Christians in America wrong. When the imposter possessed them, their righteousness was easily turned away from God and towards Satan. So, and that was because of COVID. And that was bad for the 90s. That was bad for the 2000s, and it was bad for the 2010s. But I'm telling you now, that negative excitement you get when something bad is about to happen, something dramatic and movie-like, it's going to be good. It's going to be good for the apocalypse age. It's going to be good for the Christians to feel this way. I don't know about anybody else, but it's going to be good for the Christians to feel this way. God wanted me to tell you that Cher was claiming to be a Christian while going to sleep and undoing all of her greatest work. God's greatest work. I fully believe that she's the reason why Hidden Travel has not been written until now. She confessed to me that she's the reason why people thought the world was going to end in Y2K. She's also the reason why certain black artists already tried putting 666s on their clothing and selling it to the youth. Notorious B.I.G. or Biggie Smalls tried doing this shit and he died. God killed him. There were other small-time rappers that nobody cared about or remembers who also tried doing the same thing because of her, right? And that kid must have been one of them. It's something that Craig Lewis said. He said that he was used to white people worshiping the devil. He was used to that, but never in his wildest dreams would he think of a black person doing it so openly, right? Like that black dude with the 666 cut in his head. To have the 666 cut or shaved in the back of your afro, your crown, that is your crown, your afro head, that was you letting it be known out loud and on purpose. Beelzebub was upset for Lucifer because he could never get black people to openly worship him. Because if they did, it was them in secret. They worshipped him in secret. And it was for stupid things like money, right? She was really thinking that if the imposter age is in the 2000s, we can get them to do it. Baby, don't worry. I'm your girl. I'm your gal. And it was Cher Horowitz. Okay? God let her think that she was okay for a long time. Just so he could drop this on her. Because she really did believe that she was a real Christian. Okay? She was that delusional. And those thoughts, memories, and visions of her taunting Notorious B.I.G. and other black men, telling them to worship me, worship Satan, she thought those were just dreams. Not real, just something made up by her crazy little brain. Well, Cher, it's real. It's totally real. You really did all that stuff. God told me that you were supposed to write Hidden Travel, right? That the Hidden Travel books were always meant to be famous. And the first person he went to was, of course, a Beelzebub. And it was you. It was Cher. He went to her. This was in the early 80s, apparently. God told me she would have been a child at this time. And I was like, that don't make sense. But God said, I know her spirit. She's much older than that. I came to her spiritually, not physically. So he spoke to her in spirit and told her to write the imposter revelations. He said, you can call it whatever you want. That's just going to be the base name. That's what he told her. So these books were going to be called the imposter revelations, but they were going to have another name, like the other books in the Bible, right? So it's called the Bible, but they each have their own individual titles. So for me, I just called it Hidden Travel White Paper, because that's the name of my favorite anime, Yu Yu Hakusho. Right? I hope they heard that. My favorite anime, Yu Yu Hakusho. So she started writing it, and as she was writing it, the same thing that was happening to me started happening to her. So it wasn't just the imposter age. It was just the fact that these books are really big. They're a really big deal in the metaphysical and spiritual realms. Okay, I don't really know how big they were, but they are. Okay, and if you were writing this book, you were going to get demons coming to you and trying to talk to you about it. I experienced this as well. And so far, I've only detailed celebrities who were disguising themselves as human coming to me, right? But I didn't talk about the fallen angels and the other creatures that were coming to me in great detail, like before. I mean, I think I kind of tried, but I feel like I could have gone into more detail. But Will Smith was a Tanuki. Raphael was a Renaissance angel that tried to rape me because he thought this was ancient times. A genie also tried to rape me. Like, a genie, a real fucking genie. And he did look like the genie from Aladdin, except he had Robert Sheehan's face. Anybody know who Robert Sheehan is? I doubt you know him because he's a celebrity that is only based in the UK. He's not famous at all in America, but the genie that tried to rape me had Robert Sheehan's face. So I don't fucking know if that was him or not. But Michael the Archangel possessed Michael Jackson for the imposter age and told me about it. Right? That was him being evil. And it was just too much weird shit happening where Bible characters, because I was writing these books, Bible people were now coming back to life and asking to be put into this book. I remember Samson, the guy who inspired Chinese people to believe that long hair gives you power. He was completely bald in heaven still. Like, after that witch cut off his hair, he did not want to grow his hair back. So he just stayed bald forever. And I remember him yelling at me from heaven. Like, I don't even remember what he was yelling at. I was just laughing because I was like, who the fuck is that? And I remember Caesar telling me, oh, that's just Samson. he's just a crotchety old man. Like, he reminded me of Old Man Jenkins, So as God was telling me this, I had to stop him. And I said, did she get attacked for trying to write these books, Jesus? Because if she did, I understand why she stopped. You can't be mad at her, God. Like, having demons and shit coming in your house, opening up your brain in the spirit realm, that's scary. But God wanted me to know that because of what she is, she wasn't going to be attacked at all. That's another good reason why he went to her first. When the demons came to her, they were much nicer. Definitely much nicer than they were to me, bitch. Okay, because they already knew her and saw her as they see themselves. The problem was she started to find them attractive, like in a friendly way and in a sexual way. Like, she just thought they were attractive and didn't understand why God hated them. She started writing it, and then it turned into what is now known as the Satanic Bible, because that's what she called it. She said, call it something raunchy so it'll get really famous, right? This is the 80s where satanic panic was happening. Okay, there was a satanic panic going on of rock stars getting possessed with Beelzebub, and they were doing backmasking in their songs, right? So it was perfect. It was perfect, right? She said, call it the Satanic Bible, and people will really kick that shit up. And God hated her even then. I was like, I'm not really sure about that, because I see the way you're delighting in this, though, right? God told me I completely disowned her that moment when she let the book go because she was distracted by life, right? And she left it out for someone else to find it spiritually, right? She never knew God let her go, though. She never knew, because God was just letting her stay blessed. God said, I tried to get her to write Hidden Travel, and it ended up becoming a fan fiction of how much she loves demon men. She left out all the parts where they look fucking retarded. And she made them look really cool and scary so that Anton Levy could pick it up. That's what happened. Anton Levy picked up her version of Hidden Travel and just used it to start the Church of Satan. So there's that. And that's why God said, that's why I played this really long game of pretending to still love her. It came at the expense of everyone, but I still did it. So I was intrigued. Angry, but intrigued. And I asked God, so who else did you ask before me? And he said, this time it was a full human. He asked a white man to do it. This man was fully human, okay? He was a regular guy just living his life, who believed he was a Christian. And I had to say it like that because I'm about to tell you, okay? He asked this white man. He really didn't want to do it at first. Okay, God asked him, told him about it, said it's going to be huge. Don't worry. And he said, I really just, I don't know, Jesus, I don't know, right? And because he knew that he would also get interested in how cool demons are, excuse me, God was leaning on him. Okay, this man said, I might start to think the demons are cool. You know me, I'm a bit of a dumbass, okay? And God was like, it's okay. Okay? You're strong enough to know this about yourself. That already makes you more righteous than the last person I asked to do this, right? And God told him, don't worry, I'll protect you. But he did not want to do it. Like, he was really against it. He started the first few pages of it and then left it on the table for his wife to see. God realized he messed up. He said, I messed up. Because why was a human man married to a copy of Alicia, that dumb dog spirit of the Antichrist? God told me that when someone is agitating to him, but he can't figure out why, their human spirit will become hunched over and curl up until they start to look like what is a dog creature. And this is how some of the black women turned into dogs during the imposter age. Because sometimes it wasn't even Ultron, right? So they were human at first, but they just turned into something that God doesn't really like because there was something they kept doing and it was agitating the out of him. You know what I'm saying? This man had a wife that was exactly like that. She was a regular human being, but she was always having thoughts about murder, and God couldn't figure out why. Like, it was just because she might have been sociopathic, and she was getting angry that people were being nice to her, but she kept taking it as them mocking her. And so in order to get over it, she would just have thoughts of her killing them. And God really hated that about her. Like, you can be human and a little sociopathic. That's what God said. Doesn't mean you're a dog. It's just you kind of act like one. And when the imposter age happened, that's what the imposter started to say. He was reading God's mind and he said, if you act like a fucking dog, I'm just going to make you into one. Okay, if you act like a dog, he would rip. The way the imposter did it, because he's not God, he can't just, transform you slowly over time by accident. He would just rip a dog out of its own body and put it into the body of a human being. That's what he would do. He would tell the dog to eat the human up if they're not going to leave. Eat up the spirit and just take up home there, right? That was his way of mimicking God. That was his way. But God's brain would naturally turn these women into dogs because he was really hating on them. Jeez, so loud. He hates Alicia, okay? The most. He hates her the most because he doesn't actually think about Ruth. Ruth is the worst, but in my opinion, she's the worst, but he doesn't think about her because she's so toxic. He thinks of Alicia, and when he does, he hates her. It's like they always end up looking like Alicia to him, the dog women. They always end up looking like some variation of her more than they end up looking like Ruth, right? His wife saw the script for the books, read through it, and said, sounds really amazing. You should work on it more. And he just really didn't want to. So God cursed him. Because I'm tired of you saying, I don't want to. I'm getting really tired of you. The next time he came to God saying, I don't want to, this nigga had horns on his head and on his back. He was growing horns on himself trying to write this shit because something he was hiding from God. That he was turning into a demon. And it's because he was a grim spirit. The male dog. Okay? He was turning into a dog. And the men usually turn into Grimm, that gay dog that tormented Japanese men in the 90s. But like by not wanting to write that book, he was revealing to God that he might be a Satanist low key. And he had not known until now. And his wife too, because she sold it to an NPC who was dirty and grew a Beelzebub spirit. And it turned into a Harry Potter. It turned into a Harry Potter. I said a Harry Potter, but he turned it into Harry Potter. I said he because she was gender fluid at the time. And this is J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling was gender fluid at the time, like any Beelzebub woman. But I didn't know NPCs could just grow a human spirit or a Beelzebub spirit. And it's probably because Beelzebub keeps trying to come back and make copies of herself. Duh, that makes sense to me. She keeps trying to possess people. But it's the fact that she wasn't a Beelzebub person, just grew into one. How convenient for them, right? She sold it to her, and this bitch turned it into Harry Potter. So another dud, right? Hidden Travel now is Harry Potter. Harry fucking Potter. So now we have the Satanic Bible and Harry Potter, a book promoting witchcraft to millions of children. Okay? So the creator of Yu Yu Hakusho is a Japanese man, and God did not want to go to him. Okay? So he didn't, but it's just so convenient how it was connected. We'll just call him Yusuke, since Yusuke is his self-insert. Yusuke was in the 80s, and he learned how to come out of his body and see the world from a different place. Then he started writing down all that he had found and went through, and that's when it turned into a hidden travel white paper situation, right? He was writing on white paper, and he was hidden traveling, and it was a very simple, clean name. You know, he wrote it down in ancient Japanese that would translate to Yu Yu Hakusho. I loved the idea of it, all of it, and I wanted to write a fan fiction. I needed to write a fan fiction. I loved it so much. I'm sure he thought that he was exposing Shinto, right? But he was also exposing every other religion for me. And that's when I wanted to add Christianity to the mix. Because he did sensationalize them. He did kind of make the demons look cool, but he also made them look not cool. That the fact that this random human boy could just come in and bust up their shit like that. They were all really mad and impressed over that, right? Because he was saying something. So Jesus thought this was perfect and just decided to ask me to write the books. He saw how I was really impassioned by the anime version of Yu Yu Hakusho because it's slightly different from the manga, right? The manga's more detailed and has more shit. Like, if you read the manga, you find out that Yusuke's mom was a prostitute and that she did drugs and shit, and she had him when she was 15. They don't really show you that in the anime. So, yeah, that was something. But, so, okay, like, well, Jesus came to me and thought it was perfect, and he said, write the books for me. God wanted the imposter to happen too, because he sees now that he made certain people just to torture them. And that's what I wanted to put. Like, it was already too late. Why have me write the books now? But it's still important, right? But it's just like, I just came to the conclusion that how can you do that when you're supposed to be a good God? Maybe you just want some creatures to torture. And as an artist, you would understand when you're writing something, when you're drawing, sometimes you make a little ugly character just a bully. Like, maybe you've done that before, right? So he wanted to be the imposter version of himself too, and just torture a lot of good people and just pure people. Not really good people, but just like pure. They were pure, right? And I just want God to be honest. Like, I want him to be honest with himself and admit that he hates white people, because I never hated them and I still don't hate them. I don't. When certain white celebrities read my version of the Imposter Revelations, they said we love it. But they kept asking me, why are they not white? Especially Amy Poehler. She was really upset about it. Like, she kept asking me over and over again, why are they not white? Why are they not white? Why? She was being her natural funny self. You know, she's a comedian, but she was really upset. I think she was a Beelzebub that didn't know she was a Beelzebub. Okay, those are usually the nice ones, obviously, when they're not aware of themselves. She really wanted to like it. That's why she kept bothering me, but her brain just couldn't compute that most of the characters in my version are colored people. they kept saying it was my version of events. And I'm like, no, I think the original version, they would all just be colored people. Most of the main characters would be colored people, including the demons, okay? Like, unfortunately for you, the demons turned white, but they all started off black, okay? Even Satan. So it's like he was just born pale skinned. He, light skinned, mulatto looking, that's still not white, right? To them. So it's like, I don't know what y'all talking about. It wasn't me. I'm not being racist or a black supremacist. That's just how everybody look, because that's how God looks. And that's how he's going to make people look, okay? You all think the same as God. He wants everybody to look like him. Y'all want everybody to look like them. You, right? Okay, so like Chiaki, Ember, Kazuma, and especially Amira are all some variation of black, or you could say African and Asian, right? Amira especially, they really wanted her to be white, a dumb white bitch, just because she's so silly. And I was like, black girls can be dumb, Like, black girls can be dumb. You guys are belittling yourselves by thinking that you can only have white chicks being stupid, right? The white chick in the group is the dumb one, right? The dumb blonde syndrome thing going on. Yeah, like, let black people be evil, okay? They can be good, they can be heroes, and they can be villains too. Like, what are you afraid of, right? That they would be more charismatic than you? These people I named, Chiaki, Ember, Kazuma, and Amira, these are the four main characters. The four towers. They represent each of the books, right? They are the heroes of the series. In the spirit realm, when I had people read it, it was a cultic thing I was trying to do with the witches to get them excited for something. In the spirit realm, I would put the four books before them, and the books would show each of the towers' faces in the shape of their tower behind them, right? So the white book is Kazuma's face, and the black book is Chiaki's face, and the gray book is Amira's face, and then the clear book is my face, right? Because I just hated everything and I wanted it to be cleared out. So I made that my book. And that's the book that I figured would be the least favorite anyway, and nobody wouldn't read it. I was fine with that because I just thought people wouldn't like me. But, it's a brilliant, I got really into it. So I wanted to make it was Hollywood. I wanted to make a theatrical thing about it. And I think that's what they were mad about. The two people that he came before wasn't even that passionate about it. They was not ready to do all that work for it. Now I was like, I'm going to make these books look like the Bible, Jesus. Like, I'm going to have two versions, where the characters' faces are on it, and then another version where it's like the Bible. Like, I was really like just designing everything. I designed everything by myself. I was like a woman possessed. Okay. And like I said, even Satan wasn't that white. When I wrote about him, he wasn't that white, and they were annoyed by that. Okay? But see, if Cher and that other guy would have wrote it, all the characters would have been white, and I think the moment God told them, don't put your face over them to like them, write them as they are, which is to say, write them as if they're colored people, because they are, and that's when they got pissy. I'm pretty sure that's when they decided to put the book down and be like, I don't want to do this. They started saying, I don't want to do this, Jesus, because God told them to write them as colored folks. And I started telling God, I didn't want to do this, right around the black book. Not because of that, because I was getting attacked. Okay? Spiritually. I was getting attacked spiritually. And I figured a lot of white people, I figured there was a lot of white people attacking me. All right? They would be upset about it. They would be upset about how very blatantly obvious he was roasting them too. Okay? Although, like, he came full circle when he completely obliterated black men in the gray book, but it's just like God was basically attacking everybody at that point. So I wasn't worried anymore, but it still just became very clear to me that he does not like white people. And if they exist, it's just so he can bully them. And I said, just stop, just get rid of them. Turn them all black. Because you just hate them. Like, that's why he was telling a lot of NPCs during the imposter age, you better turn black. And they didn't know why, but now I think I know why. Jesus doesn't care. He got on the cross for everyone. But the Father was like, nope, I still hate them. Ew. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Like, Jesus did all of that for nothing, didn't he? Because why do you still hate white people? Why? Why are they still evil? Why are they still dumb? Come on, come on. Like, them, when I say them, white people, they are the Gentiles. They are the people that is not really a people. The people that turned white after a little while. All those Africans who caught leprosy and their melanin started falling off, those are the ones he hates. These are not animal people. These are just his bad thoughts personifying into human flesh, and he hates looking at them. He thinks they're ugly. I want him to admit that. Okay? That's why they always end up being some sort of demon after a little while. Then when God asks them to do something really important for the body of Christ, this is really fucking important. I need you to do this now, okay? That is when they find out that they're a Satanist. Oh, conveniently, they are now a devil. Because God asked them to do something big for the church, the churches. The Bible was written in Africa. Rome was a part of Africa, guys. It wasn't in Europe because Europe didn't fucking exist. It didn't exist. White people didn't really exist. It was just albino black people at that point. It was albino black people. That's what they were known as. They were called the lepers. The lepers. If you ever found out where are white people in the Bible, that's who they were. They were called the lepers. Every other person in the Bible is black or some type of Asian. Okay? That, I'm sorry to tell you that if you're a racist, but that's, there you go. Africa didn't even really exist. It wasn't called Africa. It was called Pangea. Because everybody was one at that time. And that's what Pangea is meaning. It means that the entire earth was like in one piece, not broken up through the waters like we see now. So since the Bible was written in Africa or Pangea, we were only going to get colored people residing in it. Why do you think God would have the imposter revelation be written with, like, why do you think God would even have the imposter revelations written with colored folks, right? Like, why would there ever be white faces? Why would all the characters, why would they be white? Why, Amy? Why, Amy Poehler, would they be white? Okay? That doesn't make any sense. I put the setting mostly in Asia because Yu Yu Hakusho is Japanese. But it fit perfectly because China is Babylon. And is the reason why the imposter got so big and so strong, okay? They worked with Hollywood to create him, right? Yu Yu Hakusho is another version of Journey to the West. You could even say it's a fan fiction of Journey to the West because Journey to the West is an old Chinese story that has been rehashed over and over again, so much that no one really knew what it was about. And God told me the true origins was it was just about China leaving Africa and going west to where they are now. There are so many different renditions of this story in other Asian countries, and Yu Yu Hakusho, in my opinion, is the best of them. And the reason why I say this is like Journey to the West is because after experiencing all of that, Yusuke, the founder of Yu Yu Hakusho, wanted to be American. He wanted to be a Westerner. It scared him that much. I just think it's so perfect that I wrote everything together like this. How serendipitous, you know? Like, I truly believe I was possessed when I was writing the ending of the Gray Book, though. When I was writing the ending, I feel like I was possessed, and the rest of the Clear Book. So during the imposter, which I was going to church, like I always was, since I was a babe, and I finally realized that the downstairs area of our church is the back rooms of one of the areas of the back rooms, or one of the areas, right? I just wanted to tell people that because I thought that was so scary and crazy that I found it that day, last Sunday. I remember still feeling loopy, saying on my blog that the back rooms were real, and the children of those Chinese people in Hollywood were given access to those rooms. That's why we were getting pictures of them online. But I actually would like to film myself walking around in it because it was really eerie how it didn't make sense, just like the games, the imposter games that they made, or videos and stuff. God told me that the back rooms were real, and I was just, wow. He said that the Neanderthals that were working with the Chinese scientists, they needed some good energy, so they built some of their labs metaphysically in churches, and you can definitely see that in my church that I was going to. There are several doors just looking like they're very close together, stacked on top of each other, and always that don't really make sense. Then there was this weird gentleman's bathroom situation where the toilet had its own separate room, and then the sink had its own separate room. Very monkey-like work, if you ask me. Very monkey-rich bullshit. Then he told me not to use one of the bathrooms, because I tried to use one of the bathrooms, because the wall was slanted. When you sit down, the wall is slanted. It was just a weird, funky-ass bathroom, and And God told me the wall was landed because a man kept sleeping on it. A hobo spirit. He died being experimented on, and it was COVID-18. The same level of COVID that killed me, right? This man died because of COVID-18, and God was letting me know he's still there in that bathroom. He sleeps there still. Oh, battery's running low. Oh. Because, yeah. Had to do that. Oh, shoot. So my battery's running low. You see my sheets there? Because I'm just sitting in bed doing this now. So yeah, that's how, fucked up that was. But I'm about to be over anyway. It's about to be over anyway. Well, I guess there's, nothing else to recap. This might be my last broadcast for a while. I don't know. I hope not. But yeah, I need to prepare myself for Christ. And you should too. You should too. So, to put it all in perspective, Jesus came back. Yay, he's back. He wasn't going to make a big deal about it, although a lot of people thought he was going to crack the sky and we was all going to have dramatic music playing and people going to be screaming. No, he decided to be low-key, because he was dramatic about it during the imposter age. He showed people his face in the clouds and they thought it was Caesar, and that pissed him off so bad he didn't want to do anything for a while because he forgot about Caesar. He ignored Caesar because Caesar's a joke. Fortunately, Jesus, I think you're being a little bit hypocritical because you could have just gotten rid of Caesar too. Like, you're mad at the Father for laughing at Beelzebub, but you laugh at Caesar all the time. You're not intimidated by him because you know who you are, but a lot of people will led astray because of his silliness. Right? Caesar laughing at them and telling them, I'm not actually Jesus, but knowing that they wouldn't listen because they are desperate for you to look like them. It's a little bit, maybe I should say it a second time. Yeah, I know. So yeah, like, let me just a little recap, and that's what happened on Glee, or that's what you missed on Glee, right? Like, Jesus came back. The imposter age was the tribulations and a fake version of Revelations, and it was because it was for the demons, and now we are in the true revelations for the Christians. So that's all, folks. Good night. Good day if you're a foreigner. And Godspeed. Godspeed. Me and God fighting is ugly. That's why I said that. This is ugly.